All right, so how's it going, my comic chat armor? We're here today with Shaun Keenan, what would you say, the CEO, creator of
Bit of
comics to
everything, I
movies?
think. Yeah, jack of all trades. So,
Mm.
yeah, I just created comics to movies and started off as just me, and now we've got pretty much 20 to 30 people all around the world that we work with. So, yeah, so I like to say that I'm the mastermind behind it all. So, not necessarily the talent, the mastermind. So.
So is that your plan, to take the comics and make movies?
So that was the original plan. Where now I've kind of evolved from there, and we kind of do the opposite. So we work with screenwriters, directors, and producers in regards to turning their screenplays into comics or graphic novels. So we've got one coming out hopefully next year called Occupation Rainfall, and that's based on a Australian sci-fi series. So there's been 2 movies out already, and this graphic novel kind of falls in between the second and third movie type of thing. So, so my initial goal was to get all my own stuff turned into movies, but it's now kind of flipped itself on its head, but that's good. It keeps me busy, and a little bit of a gap in the marketplace there.
Are you in Australia or the UK?
Australia, so down on the eastern coast, down the bottom, in a place called Melbourne. So I'm just outside of the main city in a regional town called Gisborne. So I live here next to my in-laws with my 2 and 8-year-old daughter, and then next door my in-laws live next door actually, and the 96-year-old great grandmother. So there's 4 generations in a block and a half of one another. So yeah.
All of the Australians that I've interviewed so far, all of y'all are cool as hell. Like, I definitely got to come down there to visit sometime.
Well, I always say with the comic creators, I got a spare room. So if anyone ventures all the way over here, just hit me up, and you're more than happy to crash in our spare room for a little bit. So yeah.
Sweet. So, how long have you been making comics?
So I created my first comic in 2015. Which was a series called the Extreme Champion Tournament. I've been reading comics since I was a kid, so I struggled to read. My mum couldn't really kind of entice me to read, so she was actually the one that bought me my first comic, which was a Spider-Man comic, and kind of fell in love with it from there. So that was like your mid 80s, and then 1991 happened. Jim Lee, X-Men, and kind of really spawned my love for comics for there. So pretty much collected the first, I think about 110, 112 issues, and yeah, kind of fell away from comics in my early to mid 20s, and came back to it in 2015 when I'd been doing a few comic book shows, and kind of connecting back in with the local scene, and was like, got my own creative juices flowing, and yeah, I can't believe that it's almost been 10 years now. So yeah.
Nice. Congrats on 10 years of making comics.
Yeah, thank you very much, man. If you told me 10 years ago that this is what I would be doing, and that it would also allow me to travel the world, I probably would have laughed in your face. But yeah, it's been a really amazing journey, not an easy one, and I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. They look at you and you go, "Oh, you're a guest at this convention, you've done this, and you've raised this amount of money on Kickstarter," but it's a lot of hard work. And as I said off the start, there's a whole team that goes into creating comics. And I think that's another thing, especially people that are just authors and that they don't realize it's them, an editor and their publisher type of thing, where comics is like a large team. If you can't do it all yourself, you've got a penciler, inker, colorist, letterer, graphic designer, and then your printer on top of that. So
yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned the printer, because so many people talk about everything else but the printing. Would you say which one is the biggest expense, making the comic or the printing?
So for me, it's making the comic, and the big reason behind that is I can't draw myself. So
Yeah.
I'm very particular around the art style that I personally like. So I find that a lot of my series are all created with artists and styles that I like, type of thing. And I understand that because I can't do it myself, I want to make sure that I compensate the person that's doing the artwork. So I've always been a firm believer of paying people to do their work. So for me, that's the biggest expense. And then the second one would then be the printing type of thing. So we're very lucky here in Australia. We've got a really good printer that does, because we get all of our stuff printed through them. And we're really releasing at least 2 to 3 books every single year. We get a better deal through them. So yeah.
So what is the book you have right now on Kickstarter?
So at the moment, we've got a brand new series called Jetset Reverie, which is like a really psychedelic type of book. So something very different from all my mythology and action books that I usually do. It's about a group of pirates that go through your subconscious and steal the last thing that you think of, which is like your dream. So they steal this dream, they manufacture it, and then sell it on the black market. So it's very, very kind of cool. But if you like Enter the Sandman, Inception, those really type of trippy stories where you don't know whether you're in a dream or the dream changes depending on what the person is dreaming about, this is really really up your alley. So we had a great start. We funded within 24 hours. But as always, the Kickstarter cliff is real, and then it's just your slog. So we've got at the moment 5 days. I think when this goes live, we've probably got about 48 hours left. So jump on and check that out. And it's the first 2 issues. So we've got them fully completed, and this is the first comic we've also done in French. So we've got both English and French versions. So
that's cool. That's really cool. Do you have any cons planned this year?
Yeah, so I haven't been doing as many conventions as I used to do. I used to do between 20 and 30 conventions a year, so practically every second weekend. But as I mentioned before, I got a 2-year-old, so that's kind of thrown a lot of those conventions out the window. Just can't be away from home as much as I could. But there's a big convention circuit here in Australia called Supernova, so they've got their 100th show in November. So I will be at that one. That is actually in Brisbane, so that's again on the east coast but up north. So I'll fly up to that show. And then there's Oz Comic Con in Melbourne, which will be in December, which is just before Christmas. And then there's a couple of small ones at comic shops for Halloween. So they're the ones that I'll do. But our main con season is around Easter and in the middle of the year. So I think we do about 6 or 7 cons in a row during that middle of the year type of thing. So
are all your cons in Australia?
No, so I've done several conventions in New Zealand, so both North and South Island of New Zealand. Been to every state and territory here in Australia. I've been over to France a couple of times and done a couple of Spartacus conventions over there for my series XCT. And then I've been to the US, so mostly Texas. So I've done Dallas, Comicpalooza, and Permian Basin Comic Con. And then I've also done San Diego a couple of times. So,
Oh yeah, that's so cool. How do you get the comics from Australia to America? Do you just pack them in your suitcase?
Yeah, so most of the time I travel with 3 suitcases. So that's about 69 kilos, which is what I think about 150 pounds.
I'll translate it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's like crazy. Like I've like my back's. I'm a little bit older now. When I was younger, that was fine. But I'm a little bit older now, and that's starting to get a bit heavy. And also, we've just got so much stuff now. Like, it was all right when we only had 2 or 3 books out, or even 4 or 5. But we've now got 7 different series, multiple issues of different series, multiple covers of each issue. So when you start adding those up, you got like 40 or 50 different covers. It's kind of, you got to then pick and choose what you do. And then we've even done CGC grading of some of our comics as well, which is kind of cool. So so moving forward, it will be either printing in the US, and that might allow us to do like a convention exclusive. But then, when I go over, I'll try and do like at least 2 shows type of thing, because coming all that way is a little bit hard for just one show.
Could imagine. Do you have distribution figured out? Like, can they get your comics through their local comic shops?
So we don't have it through our local comic book shops at the moment. We kind of went a different route and went through book distribution. So all of our graphic novels you can get from Barnes and Nobles, from Amazon, from all of your bookstore places. When we started, it was still the monopoly of Diamond at the time, and it was quite hard to get into. You had to have like your whole series planned out, all that type of stuff, and we just were not in a financial position to be able to do all of that type of stuff. But now, with a few more options, we've been in contact with Luna, so we're just waiting to hear back around that. And then if we get in and we're successful, we'll do a big launch around that. Probably change up a few covers to relaunch through them. So yeah,
That'd be cool. What social medias are you on?
we are on them all. So
Yeah.
comics to movies on Twitter, Instagram. I'm not that great on TikTok, but we have a TikTok. We used to do a show on YouTube as well, so that was Comics to Movies. So used to interview other creators and everything. Again, with my little one, she did not sleep for 18 months, so that's threw all of my plans out the window. Facebook, Blue Sky, Threads, so everything is just comics to movies. So
Sweet. What other books did you have planned for the rest of this year?
yeah, so we've got our Ringo Award series coming up in December. So that's volume 4 of Fractured Shards, which is a cyberpunk detective series where Sebastian Vetro is a detective and he's able to solve crimes using these things that we call fractures, which is like a medium. So first 3 volumes has kind of been about setting up the universe, the characters, and that type of stuff. But this volume 4, I'm really, really excited about. It's a lot more, probably the most emotional story that we've told. I think it will be, hit home with a few people, and hopefully there's a few twists and turns that people don't see coming. So we'll be launching that in December, running that over Christmas and into January, so that people have got plenty of time to worry about the funds that won't come out until the end of January. Then after that, we've got the relaunch of XCT, so the Extreme Champion Tournament. So we're going to do that early next year. We've just gone back and retold told that story. So we're super excited with that because, when I go back and read our initial issue, I was like, oh, that is horrible, but I didn't know what I didn't know. So being able to go back and redo that is super exciting. We've even done another Mythology companion book to go with that, which will showcase a lot of new characters and new monsters that will be in the series. And then we'll go from there. And then currently, I'm working on a screenplay. So we've got a option for one of our ideas, which I can't talk about too much. I'm just hoping to get that signed and across the line this week, or when this actually goes live to air, and then we'll be able to announce that, which will be very cool because that's the first time, as we've said, we've gone the opposite way and making something into a film, which is really cool.
That's cool. That's really cool. I can't wait to see which. It's going to be one of your comics, right?
It's something that no one has seen, so it's something that I'd had on the back burner, and we've got this pitching event here in Australia called the Melbourne International Film Festival. I've done that for a couple of years, kind of got a gauge of what the industry was after. Walked away and went, I've got this really good idea that I think that would be great. So created a pitch deck, got some artwork to say this is what it would look like if I created it as a comic book, and was going to go further with that, but then got this opportunity, so that kind of held off me releasing that book. But it was kind of lucky because I hadn't created the pre-launch page or anything, so no one will know about this. But I think it's going to be pretty exciting. I think it caters to a large audience. I've been really enjoying learning that screenwriting process because I've never done that before. So super excited to be able to let everyone in on what's going on. So
can't wait for the announcement. So, dead or alive, who is your dream team to make a comic book with?
Oh man, artists would have to be either Humberto Ramos or J. Scott Campbell. So I'm gonna say internals, Humberto Ramos, variant cover, J. Scott Campbell. I will tell you, the writer that I work with now, Stephen K. I feel like he's my dream writer. Like we've worked together for a lot of time. So even though I love your Neil Gaiman or someone like that, like I feel really privileged to be working with Stephen, and I probably wouldn't want to change that. So yeah, that's that would be my dream team.
All right. Is there anything you want to say before we go?
So guys, we've got a bunch of Kickstarters coming up over the next 12 to 18 months. You can check out all of our stuff on Kickstarter under Comics to Movies or my name, Shaun Keenan. So we've got just two separate accounts there, one for the business and one for all the projects that I'm involved with. If you want to stay up to date with us, check us out on all of our socials. We've got all of our details there, as well as you can sign up to our email list. We give you discounts on all of our comics. And tell you what, if you mention this podcast, we'll see if we can give you even a further discount on anything that you purchase from our store as well. So yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you for taking the time to come talk with me.
No problem. Thanks so much.
What? You mean you haven't subscribed to Comic Chat Authority? Oh, come on, subscribe already. What are you waiting for? It's no big deal. Like, man, don't forget to tell him to hit that like button. Yeah, that too. Just subscribe.